So I'm Kristen O'Brien. I'm the Macabacus go-to-market director. So I work with our support team, our sales team, our customer success team, and our marketing team. Tell me about your role at CFI.
Inside of CFI, what I do is I run the FMVA program, so Financial Modeling and Valuation Analyst Program.
You are a big champion for Macabacus. What makes you such an advocate? Tell me why you love it.
It really allows us, first of all, to create the models faster. We can audit them more quickly. The models end up coming out with more integrity because we've got a higher probability of finding any potential issues that are lurking in the models. And then we also are using it a lot on the PowerPoint slide too. Like when we're putting together our courses, there's live dynamic links between all of our Excel examples and right over to the PowerPoint decks that we're creating. So it's literally just woven itself into the fabric of the FMVA, in terms of our internal workflow, but then we also are members who are, subscribing to the learning and the courses at CFI. We're weaving, Macabacus into that training as well, just to make them aware of how it can be used, with financial modeling design and financial modeling build as well. Yeah.
Can you quantify the impact that Macabacus has on somebody that's working in Excel all day?
For me, it's like I adapted to the software pretty fast because I'd already been using the keyboard a lot, so sort of accustomed to keyboard use. And so once I'd sort of adapted it into my workflow, which sort of happened right away, but really probably took a week or two, I would say that if you're going to base it on a standard 8-hour day, I would be saving, at least a half an hour, some days a full hour out of the 8-hour day. So we can quantify it based on time that way. I mean, that's a huge, saving 1 hour out of 8 in every single day, multiply that out over the weeks and years and even decades for, an older gentleman like myself. It depends what kind of role you're working in. Like if you're in investment banking and you want to try to just get stuff done quicker so you can actually get some sleep at night, then we could quantify it that way. When I first started using Macabacus, I was doing some financial modeling consulting work, and the particular client we had bid on a fixed price for the work that we were going to do. So it just enabled me to cut the costs way back because I was able to do the work so much faster. It was a massive savings, and that was just on the first project, and then it just escalated after that point.
What's your favorite shortcut?
Oh gosh, there's so many. So I would have to say I use show all dependents a lot because anyone that's spend some time in Excel would know that Excel can only show one dependent at a time. And who's got time to execute the Excel shortcut 50 times in a row? Macabacus can just do it all in bulk, which is it's huge. If you're building a model and there's a section you need to delete, then you quickly show all dependents really quickly, check that there's no dependents, and then bang, you can delete it knowing that another part of the model won't ref out. So that's a big one. Functional map is a huge one. So if you open a model for the first time, maybe it's one that a colleague built, maybe it's one that you've brought in from a client's data room, you can hit the functional map pretty quickly, and that'll just show you exactly where all the inputs are, where all the formulas are. It'll even find partial inputs, which are so hard to find. If you don't have Macabacus, it'll just instantly map you to them super quickly. You can use it to just get to know a model fast, but you can also use it as an auditing tool to help you locate the areas of potential issues super quickly. Those would be two. I love Superfine too. It's insane. But you asked me what was my favorite shortcut.
Yes.
Sort of a trick question because Superfine doesn't have a shortcut, nor does the functional map, but show all dependents does. So if you truly ask me about the shortcuts, show all dependents.
So all of them?
So all of them, yes. Yes, I do love all of them.
Macabacus is a brain compliance and productivity tool. Let's talk about the brain compliance piece.
I kind of like default over to the speed and efficiencies piece just because I spend so much time in financial models. And also, I was initially drawn into Macabacus as an efficiency kind of solution. On the brand compliance side, where it really has been helpful to us is that right across CFI, we've set Macabacus up across the organization so that it can very, very quickly put in exactly the formats that we're looking for. So we recently overhauled like all of our financial models and Excel templates at CFI. And then what we did was we took a lot of those formatting settings and programmed them into Macabacus, okay? And then pushed them out across the organization. So what that basically means then is that anyone at CFI can just, hit a shortcut and instantly get, the fill color that they want, the font color that they want, border colors that they want, border types that they want really, really quickly. So from a brand compliance standpoint, it's saved us time, but it also means that everybody's putting in those same like RGB codes or those same like number formats, into all of the different templates. So that's where it's helped on the Excel side. The brand compliance on the PowerPoint side has really helped us too, because we've started to build up, got a whole library built of different shapes and images, CFI library, where we can pull those shapes and images into PowerPoint really, really quickly. And that's really helped us. And then in PowerPoint, one of the things that's so helpful is like the proofing tool. It's massive, because if we get a slide deck built up and then we run that proofing tool, it'll find stuff that the human eye would never have picked up. And it'll just say, hey, like, your RGB code is off by 1 digit. Like, who knew?
Right.
But it'll highlight that. Or, you're using different types of bullets here than you are in this other place in the presentation, or your alignment's slightly off on these two things. It's like, wow, thank you. I would have never found that, and it would have gone out, with those inconsistencies in it. So, yeah, it's really helped us on that side. So it's, the efficiency and the brand compliance goes together a bit, because you're able to get a more compliant product out, and you're able to do it faster.
I'd love to know how you learned to work with new tools like Macabacus. Do you have any tips or tricks for anybody starting out?
I'm just like an intellectually curious person, and so I basically like to learn by doing and just trying it, and just I literally just explore the ribbon, and I try to just figure out what's there and what I'm going to use it for. That's basically the way I learned. It's definitely easier now with the YouTube channel that's been created, for sure. But that's the way I picked it up. And then when I need a little bit more clarity on a certain tool, then I'll kick over to the Macabacus documentation site on the web. And that's oh my gosh, it's a massive resource of information. It's really well put together and organized and really well written. But that's if you want to go deep on, any of the tools or functions, that's where you head to. Otherwise, I gotta say, like, the software is pretty intuitive, like right out of the box. Like, anyone who's already a keyboard user will just it'll just feel natural right out of the gate, because it was literally, designed by a team that was already pretty hardboard keyboard users. And so it just felt like a natural fit when I started using it. And the keyboard shortcuts are also very well thought out, intuitive, and pretty easy to remember too, actually. They're quite similar to Excel shortcuts as well. So anyone who's memorized a bunch of Excel shortcuts would be comfortable with Macabacus shortcuts, because the default ones they're so similar in terms of like location and letters that are used, and the use of the Control and the Alt keys as well. So
good, yeah, really easy to adopt and get started pretty quick.
It definitely is. As a keyboard user, yes. And if you were not a keyboard user and you were using the mouse, then there'd be a little bit more of a learning curve. You could definitely get into Macabacus and you could exist in there as a mouse user and still gain a lot of efficiency for some of the tools that are in there. Like you could go in and you could open up a financial model that was really not formatted well and just, mouse your way up to auto color and just say like, auto color the workbook, bang, it's done.
Yeah.
That's a huge time saver and you didn't even touch the keyboard. But if you know how to hit that with the keyboard, it saves even more time.
Did you pronounce Macabacus correctly the first time?
I cannot remember, actually the first time I pronounced it, but I do remember being confused about the pronunciation. And then at one point, because I'm such a nerd for like menus and ribbons, I actually found the place in the ribbon where you can click and it'll pronounce it for you, which I found really helpful because like I really wasn't sure exactly how it should have been pronounced in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.